class 9th. Today we are continuing with chapter 8, Medieval India, the Delhi Sultanate. Today's topic is the Tughlaq dynasty from CE 1320 to 1414. We will discuss the following points. So the objectives of today's topic are Muhammad bin Tughlaq from CE 1324 to 1351, taxation in Doab, transfer of capital, use of token currency, ambitious schemes of conquest, administration during the Sultanate period, the Sultan, the central government, the provincial government, the land revenue system. Now we will discuss the following key terms. Number 1, province. It is an administrative division within country or empire. Number 2, provincial government. It means the government of province. Number 3, despot. It means dictator. Number 4, booty. It means valuable stolen goods, especially those seized in war. Number 5, famine. It means scarcity of food. Number 6, doab, the land between two rivers. Number 7, the wazir. Chief minister stood midway between the sultan and his subjects. Number 8, the Diwan-e-Insha. It means he dealt with all types of royal correspondence. Number 9, the Diwan-e-Risalat. It means he dealt with religious matters of the Sultanate. Number 10, Bakshi, paymaster of the army. Number 11, Qazi, Chief Justice. Number 12, Muqaddam, the village headman. Number 13, Patwari, the record keeper. Number 14, Diwan-e-Amir Kohi. He looked after collection of land revenue. Number 15, Mufti, an Islamic legal authority who gives a formal legal opinion, fatwa, in answer to an inquiry by a private individual or judge. Number 16, Wali, an administrative title that was used in the Muslim world to designate governors or administrative divisions. Amil, an arbitrator who assessed and collected revenue. Number 18, Pargana, a former administrative unit of the Indian subcontinent. Number 19, Shikhs, which divided a province into districts. The Tughlaq dynasty. The Tughlaq dynasty AD 1320 to 1414 was of the Turkic origin. Its most important rulers were Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Now come to the reading part. The Tughlaq dynasty CE 1320 to 1414. Page number 180. Ghazi Malik, known as Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, ruled for 5 years and passed away in 1324 when a pavilion built to honor him collapsed, means fallen. He is known as the founder of the Tughlaq dynasty. The rise to throne by Ghazi Malik had its own ups and downs. In 1320, he took the title of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq Shah and began the Tughlaq dynasty. He ruled for 5 years and passed away in 1324. He died during the collapse of a pavilion built in his honor. Muhammad bin Tughlaq CE 1324 to 1351. He has been unkindly called by historians the wisest fool. He was a great scholar, mathematician and philosopher, yet he failed in implementing his ideas. His very sensible and rational ideas failed as he chose wrong methods to implement them. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Ghiyasuddin's son, Jona Khan, ascended the throne and took the title of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The wisest fool he has been unkindly called by historians. He was one of the most remarkable rulers of his age. He was a great scholar. He had great interest in religion and philosophy. He had also mastered mathematics, astronomy, logic, and physical science. he chose wrong methods to implement his rational ideas. Number 1. Taxation in Doab. His scheme was to raise taxes in this fertile land but chose the wrong time to do so. The area was suffering from famine in the year he raised the tax. The angry peasants refused to obey the king. The Sultan ordered his officers to crush the peasants' rebellion, means revolt, and they did it very cruelly. Many people died before the Sultan realized his folly. Much damage was done to the farmers, to agriculture, and Sultan's reputation by then. Taxation in Doab. Muhammad bin Tughlaq wanted to conquer territories not only in India but also in Central Asia. For this, he required a large army and therefore large amounts of money to pay for the army. So, in order to get more revenue, he increased the land tax in the fertile region of Ganga Yamuna Doab. At the same time, a severe famine broke out in the area and the farmers refused to pay the extra taxes and rose in revolt. But the tax collectors showed no mercy and took stern measures to collect the taxes. Later on, Muhammad bin Tughlaq took effective steps to fight the famine and save the situation. He ordered free distribution of grains, advanced loans to the peasants, improved irrigation facilities, etc. But it was too late and a number of people were starved to death as agriculture suffered a heavy setback in the Doab area and Sultan lost his image. Number 2. Transfer of capital. The Sultan decided to transfer his capital from Delhi to Devgiri in the south. Delhi was too close to the northwest frontier from where the Mongols attacked regularly. The policy was sensible, but he ordered the entire population of Delhi to shift to the new capital, renamed Daulatabad. Due to lack of transport and other amenities, means facilities, many people died on the way. He ordered his people to return when he found people did not like it. He also saw that he could not defend Delhi from so far south. Not only the people suffered, the southern king seized this opportunity to establish new kingdoms in the south. Transfer of capital. During Muhammad bin Tughlaq's reign, the empire had also spread to the south. He planned to shift his capital to Devgiri near modern Aurangabad and renamed it Daulatabad. He did it for the following reasons. Delhi was constantly threatened by the Mongol invasions. Delhi was in the grip of severe famine. And last was Daulatabad was centrally located from where he could control the Deccan territories. He ordered the people of Delhi, including religious heads, to shift to Daulatabad. On realizing the threat from northwest, he decided to shift the capital back to Delhi. This caused lot of hardship to the people. The Bahmani and Vijayanagar kingdoms were founded after the emperor's return to Delhi. After the emperor's return to Delhi, the southern kings took advantage and founded the Bahmani and Vijayanagar kingdoms. Number 3. Use of token currency. In Muhammad's time, a silver coin called the tanka was in circulation. The Sultan had the idea to replace it with a copper coin, but he did not ensure that only the government would produce copper coins, with the result that people started making copper coins at home and the market was flooded with fake copper coins. Foreign traders refused to accept them. The government suffered a great financial loss as they had to take back the copper coins, even the fake ones. Use of token currency. Another controversial step which Muhammad bin Tughlaq took was the introduction of the token currency. It meant introduction of bronze tanka in place of silver tankas. This was done because of the shortage of silver. But this experiment failed due to the circulation of fake coins on a very large scale. Because he did not ensure that only government would produce copper coins, and with the result people started making coins at home, which caused chaos in trade and commerce. Consequently, he withdrew the token currency. Number 4. Ambitious schemes of conquest also led to Muhammad's unpopularity. He maintained a huge army to conquer Central Asia. The army was paid a huge salary for a year but was later disbanded. He tried to conquer places in Himachal but had to abandon, means left, the idea after great financial losses. All his schemes emptied his treasury, his prestige suffered, and there were many rebellions in his kingdom. Muhammad bin Tughlaq dreamt of conquering the world. So he organized a huge army and paid one full year's salary in advance to his soldiers. He tried to conquer places in Himachal, but after a year and following the failure of the token currency, Muhammad bin Tughlaq left the project and dispersed the army. All the ideas of the Tughlaq were failed, and he lost his prestige and many kingdoms. Administration during the Sultanate period. The Sultan. The Sultan was a despot, means dictator. He ruled with the help of nobles. The law was based on the Islamic tradition. Qazis and ulemas had a great hand in the administration. The power of the Sultan was based on the military force. He administered, means managed, all the functions of the government. There were wars for most of the period, and the booty was also a source of income. Administration during the Sultanate period. The state set up by the Turks towards the end of the 12th century in northern India gradually developed into a powerful and highly centralized state. The Sultan. The Sultan was the supreme executive, legislative, judicial, and military authority. The Sultan kept an eye on revenue and expenditure. He was assisted by a number of ministers. The law was based on Islamic traditions. Qazi and ulemas had a great hand in administration. The Qazi was the head of the Department of Justice and advised the Sultan on civil and religious matters. He administered all the functions of the government. Most of the period there were wars, and the valuable looted from other kingdoms was also the source of income. The central government. The government was run under various departments. 4 departments were most important. Each department was supervised by a minister or a higher officer. The Wazir was the chief minister. He headed the Diwan-e-Wizarat. The Bakshi was the paymaster of the army. The Qazi was the chief justice. Justice was based on the Islamic law. The department of Diwan-e-Insha looked after the state correspondence. The Diwan-e-Risalat looked after the religious affairs and education. The central government. There were various departments under which the government was run. The key figure in administration was the Wazir, who acted as the chief minister. The Wazir supervised the work of the other officials. The final decisions were always taken by the Sultan. Justice was based on the Islamic law. There were 2 other departments, namely the Diwan-e-Risalat and the Diwan-e-Insha. The Diwan-e-Risalat dealt with religious matters, and Diwan-e-Insha looked after the state correspondence. The provincial government. The provincial government reflected the same set up as at the center. The heads of the provinces known as Wali and Mufti. The provinces were further divided into Shikhs and Pargana. A Pargana was headed by an Amil. Provincial government. During the Sultanate, the empire was divided into provinces called Iqtas. Each province was placed under officials called Mufti and Wali. To facilitate local administration, provinces were further divided into Shikhs and Pargana. An Amil was headed by a Pargana. The land revenue system. Land revenue was the most important source of the income of Delhi sultans, so they were particular in keeping the land control in efficient hands. Some of the land was reserved for the sultan. The revenue from such land was used for sultan's personal expenses, Revenue from these lands was fixed at 1/3 of the produce, and this was treated as the share of the state. The rest of the land was distributed among different officers, nobles, governors, etc. These nobles, as already said, kept a certain amount of the land revenue as their salary, another amount to maintain soldiers for the Sultan. In spite of all this, they were left with sufficient amount to lead a life of luxury. Land revenue system. The most important source of the income of Delhi Sultans were land revenue. The land which were reserved for the Sultan, its revenue was used for Sultan's personal expenses. 1/3 of the produce was treated as the share of the state. The nobles, governors, officers got rest of the land as their salary and other amount they used to maintain soldiers for Sultan, and they led a luxurious life. There was a separate agriculture department known as Diwan-e-Amir Kohi, which looked after collection of land revenue. Different officers such as the Muqaddams, Patwaris helped in the land revenue collection. Diwan-e-Amir Kohi was a separate agricultural department which looked after collection of land revenue. The officials who worked at the village level included the Muqaddams, the village headmen, the Patwaris, the record keeper, helped in the land revenue collections. So students, in this video we have discussed till here. Read the chapter thoroughly, learn the basic terms and follow the SNAP homework.